This Transforce 96th in the video review. This time we have the Star Wars The Black Series Baze Malbus from Rogue One. So a part of the kind of series that's quite hard to get in stores, Baze Malbus as well as Chirrut Imwe. It does seem to be starting to pop up a bit, or at least online it's becoming more available, even though I still have yet to see these figures in stores. But I was able to get them on eBay for basically retail price. Here you have an image of Baze on the package. And on the back, get another one, standard Black Series packaging, which is quite nice. I do like it. It's kind of subtle, but it does look great. Going over the actual figure here, let's get straight onto it. The face sculpt, I think, is quite good. I think this is a solid face sculpt for Baze. I think it does look nice. I think that there's some issues with the paint. Well, actually, I was going to say that there was a bit of an issue on this side here, but that's more of like a scar that they've added, so that actually looks good. There is a little brown piece just kind of randomly on his face there above, just below his cheek, which does look a little odd. However, that's pretty minor. His hair is sculpted really nicely. And I think that it could have gone with a nice kind of black or like a lighter brown wash in it. I think that would have helped pop the detail in it a lot more. But still, it does look very nice, even though they didn't add that. The red pieces on him, I do like the fact that they're very shiny, that it's a glossy red, which does look very good. It's a nice contrast to the more dirty, weather-worn cloth costume. The armor pieces have a nice shine to them. The costume itself, of course, though, is wonderfully detailed as far as the wrinkles are concerned. Obviously, it's a very loose-fitting costume, so the details look very nice. And then the coloring, it's kind of like a tannish yellow that has like a dark gray kind of wash into it, heavy-handedly too, so that it does look very weathered. I will say that there is a bit of a separation as far as the color is concerned from the top torso and the bottom torso. You have a bit of a lighter color at the top torso there. However, it does kind of mix nicely together, so it doesn't look bad. But overall, it does look very nice. Great detail throughout the costume itself. His backpack piece is removable. As you can see, though, it looks very cool. I like the bright colors there. The roping colors look very nice. It's kind of like a bright copper, actually, which does look good, and then the silver looks nice as well. The hose is a softer plastic, but it's not that soft, so it does still maintain a good shape. I do like the detail in it, and it plugs in very strongly to this section, as well as it plugs into the gun pretty strongly as well. So if you did want to remove them, you can, but having them plugged in, it does restrict where you can put the weapon. However, it won't unplug the hose every time you move it, which is nice. That is something that I was a bit concerned about. He has this piece of fabric hanging down, which is a rubber. If that was actual fabric, that would have been really nice. That would have been a great touch, and it would have helped make his back a little bit less heavy, so I would have really liked that. It's unfortunate that they didn't do that, though, but that is a relatively small complaint. As far as his weapon itself, it does look very nice. I do like the mixture of gray coloring in it, and then you do have a bit of kind of red paint, like he painted on himself, kind of splashed on, and then there is some nice texture there. I like the grip texture towards the end of the gun. I think that does look nice. As far as his articulation is concerned, he has a ball-jointed head, which can look down, actually, a nice amount. You can kind of bury his chin in his suit, and then these strands of hair are softer plastic, so they kind of get out of the way. So he can look down a nice amount. He can look up barely. He can basically just level out, and then side to side, based on his collar piece and his long hair. Ball hinge shoulders, which work very nicely. Hinge swivel elbows, which go basically 90 degrees. He has hinge swiveling wrists, which are a bit hindered just based on how the wrist is sculpted, how these pieces of the costume are sculpted. But on this side, his wrist goes up and down, and on this side, it goes in and out. He has a ball-jointed upper torso, which can go a nice amount. I mean, it goes forward and back very lightly. It mainly just swivels, and there is this piece to look out for. It is a softer plastic, but it will still kind of clash with some of the other pieces on him, so you do have to watch out for that when you articulate his torso. He's got a ball-jointed hip, which, again, the pouches are kind of in the way, so they are softer, but you do kind of have to push them out of the way when you articulate it. A swivel at the thigh, double hinge knees, and hinge pivoting ankles. The ankles pivot back a nice amount. They just don't pivot forward like at all. They basically just straighten out, which is definitely a shame, because I would have liked him to lean forward a bit, considering he has a heavier backpack. So in some poses, he does have the tendency to kind of feel like he could fall back. It's not a huge issue, but it is still there, and the ankles having better range would have fixed that. So it is a shame that that is not that wasn't fixed. But overall, His articulation is pretty nice. You can get him holding the weapon with two hands, as you can see here. Mainly if you have trouble getting him in a good position as far as holding the weapon, it's mainly because of the hose, because the hose doesn't have like a ton of clearance, and again, it's not that soft of a plastic. So although it is malleable, it's not completely, it's not very flexible. So you can, get a bit of a position out of it, but it won't do anything that you want, which is a bit of a shame, but at the same time, it is nice that it's not, super soft plastic. Let's do a little bit of comparisons here. If you're going to buy Chert, of course you have to have Baze. The two just kind of go hand in hand. I think that they both look great together, and their proportions are pretty nice. Obviously, Baze wearing a much looser fitting costume and a big heavier one. He obviously does have a lot more bulk than Chert, which I think is completely accurate and does look very nice. And here's a full comparison with the full kind of Rogue One team, other than, of course, Bodhi Rook. It's a shame that they never made that figure. I'm still hoping that maybe eventually, maybe for a Comic-Con convention, sometime in the future, we'll eventually get that figure. I think that, they can see that people will want him simply to complete the team, even though he doesn't really have much of a future in Star Wars, neither does any of these characters, but still, I would have really liked that figure to kind of complete the team. However, even without him, this is still a solid team. I think this is a nice set, and they do look all quite nice together. I think their proportions are pretty solid together as well. I think that's, even on, just as far as the height is concerned, it's pretty good. I think that Jin's a little short. I know that Felicity Jones is relatively short in person, but I think that this is still even a little bit too short, actually. But overall, I think that they all look excellent together. He does also come with this little piece here. It's kind of like an antenna piece, and it does seem to have a little plug. I'm sure if I really looked around, I could find out where to plug this in. And obviously, if I just watched a video, I'd know. But I'm kind of lazy, so I haven't done that. But you can, I would assume you can plug this in somewhere on his backpack or something like that. I haven't found the place though yet. I'll look it up eventually when I feel like it, or if you want to let me know in the comments, feel free. But he does come with that extra piece. Overall, I think this is a nice solid figure. I think this figure is mainly needed for the character. I think that he's a nice character in the movie. If you collect Rogue One, you're going to want this guy. If you don't collect Rogue One, you're not going to want this guy anyway, so who cares? But I think that if you do like Rogue One, this is a solid addition to your collection, and it's one that is needed. Now, if you are I certainly don't recommend it, but if you are really only going to get Baze or Chert, you're not going to get both for some crazy reason, I would recommend getting Chert over Baze. I think that Chert is the stronger figure as well as the stronger character. However, I do think that Baze is worth it, and if you are going to get one, you really need both of them because they go hand in hand. So I do think that this is definitely a worthy purchase. Not the best thing ever, but it is still a nice figure, and from a character standpoint, it's pretty great, and it's definitely needed for a Rogue One collection. So there you go, that's my video review of the Star Wars The Black Series Baze Malbus figure. Let me know what you guys think of this figure, and thanks so much for watching.